Hey guys, Lads from the MTG Last Channel doing another video today, guys. I'm trying to make up for all the videos I've been missing out lately, vlogs I've shot down lately because I've been just so busy with homework and everything. But I have time to do this video, so let's get to it. This is my EDH commander, Karametra, God of Harvest. So this is the commander deck. So let me just go over the whole purpose of it. It's God of Harvest Landfall. And the whole point of it is to mana ramp quickly. When she gets out, which you want to get her out pretty quick, you start playing creatures. And when these creatures come out, whenever you cast these creatures, the creature comes, it hits the battlefield, and then you get your land. Meaning, if it has landfall, like a lot of the, like a domination angel here, you can, whenever land enters the battlefield under control, you may exile target non-land permanent other than this creature. So, boom, you get it, you get your landfall, and you usually want to play your land after this. So, if you're going to play more than one landfall creature, you're going to play the landfall creature, and then you can get the landfall right away from it. Meaning you get 2 landfall triggers right after you play the creature, which is just really well done. Let's start with the artifact creatures. Bow of Nylea. It's a 3 cost. I'm not going to talk about the mana cost. I'm just going to say how much it costs. Attacking creatures you control have Death Touch, and 1 green, 1 any. Tap, choose 1, put a 1/1 counter on something. Does 2 damage to a target creature with flying, or you gain 3 life. Put target 4 creature cards from your graveyard onto the bottom of your library in any order. This card makes it so versatile, makes it so well done, it makes the card and the deck run a lot smoother due to the fact your big creatures, okay, now they're Death Touch creatures. Any small creatures are now Death Touch creatures when they attack. You can make things bigger, you can gain 2 life, you can take care of fires, you can take care of cards getting milled out crazy. So it has so many versatile things that you can use easily. Crucible of Worlds, 3 cost. You may play land cards from your graveyard as though they were in your hand. There's not really stuff that puts things in your hand to the graveyard because you really don't want to do that very much. But this is mainly in there due to the fact like search lands or fetch lands, because then you can play land cards from your graveyard as though they were in your hand. So you just put it on the battlefield from there, and you search goes there, and you search for your land card. So you can constantly be searching. Also, card destruction kind of becomes weaker because you can just play them back from your graveyard. Yeah, they're gone. It takes an extra land to be played, so it kind of just keeps you at that one steady pace. But would you rather be going behind or just holding one position? So it has many different versatilities. Seer Sundial, 4 cost. I wasn't going to do this at first, but I realized how well it is. When landfall, whenever it enters the battlefield in control, you may pay 2, and if you do, draw a card. This deck ramps so fast and so quick sometimes that if you have this on the field, it's like, okay, I'll just play my land and then pay 1 other mana, including the land I just put there. Because that's what happens, essentially, is you play your land for the turn, landfall happens. You can pay 2, meaning the 1 land you already have, that you just put, and your second land. Since turn 4, you probably have that. So turn 1, right off the go, I'll play my land. I'll use my landfall trigger. I'll play this land and another land, and then still have the rest of my mana open, meaning this is turn 5, you play it, you have 3 mana still left over, which is very good, and you get a draw. Skull Clamp, there is so many 1/1s like that produce mana. If you're late in the game, they kind of become weak, and with Skull Clamp, you can just equip it, okay, draw me my 2 cards, and just puts it on bigger creatures that get tougher, and if you're worried about them getting killed, you can just Skull Clamp on them, and if they get killed, you gain 2 cards draw. Soul Ring just help with that mana acceleration. Spirit of Heliod, giving them +1/+1, and also if they're swinging with creatures, then you can just use its second ability, which is usually overlook, and destroy that creature. I've used this card in draft, and it's caught people off guard so quickly. Acidic Slime is a 5 cost for a 2/2 Death Touch, so it's going to be anything big creatures. They're not going to want to swing because they'll get killed. And when it enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact, enchantment, or land. And EDH, this is very crucial because you can mess with their mana. You can mess with any problematic enchantments or artifacts. Next is a Domination Angel. Already talked about that. So it's 6 for a 6/6 flyer, landfall, all that good stuff. Angel Serenity's in there. It's a 7-drop. It's a 5/6 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, you may exile up to 3 other creatures on the battlefield and other creatures from graveyards. And when it leaves the battle, return exile cards to their owner's hands. So you can put it into stuff that are a problem on the board, or you can get back stuff from it that are in your graveyard. It's like, oh, I really need this card, and you have a threat, and you have a another threat, right? I'll take care of those two threats. I'll exile my card. So if you do kill this card to get your two cards back in your hand, I'll get my threat back too. So it kind of works that way. Events in Pilgrim, Mana XL. Avengers Zendikar. Actually, this is one of the more powerful cards in the deck because you play it and you're going to get so much value out of it. So by this turn, you probably have seven land. Okay, let's say you have 7 land on board, right? It could be less due to the mana ramp, but let's say you have 7 land, and usually due to other cards that you will see, you'll have the 7 land. And as battlefield, put 0/1 creature for land for each land you control, so 7 0/1s, right? If you have Karametra online, which you should at this point, you'll put when it enters, whenever a land enters I can't talk. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may put a 1/1 counter on each planet you control. So what happens is you play this creature, you get you now have 1/2s, and then you play your land for the turn, and they become 2/3s. This is right after you play it. So now you have 7 2/3s in play. So, and then from now on, they're going to get bigger. So, and it's a 5/5 for a 7/7. So it gets really big by itself, and it's just such a great card. Azus, Lost But Seeking. I was going to just make this my landfall thing, but it's only green, so it drops the landfall triggers down. You may play 2 additional lands on each of your turns for 1/2 for a 3 cost. This stacks with other cards and just makes it your landfall happen easier and your ramp happen easier. Birds of Paradise, flying, add 1 of any color to your mana pool for 1 green. Captain Sisse gets out stuff like Azusa and other legendary creatures. I do have like 3 of them in here, and if for some reason something else happens to my commander, and it just helps me search for my legendary creatures that are usually shown. Cursor of Crucifix is another way of using the Oracle. Play the top card of your library revealed. You may play the top card of the library if it's a land card, and whenever it enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life, meaning you're just going to gain the life from the landfall, and a landfall is going to happen, and it just thins out your mana on top of the deck. Great Roof Behemoth, just really big card, you guys. It just makes everything huge with haste. It's 5 for a 5/5. And there's battlefield creatures. Well, not 5/5. It's 5, 6, 7, 8 for a 5/5 haste. And when in battlefield under control creatures, you get plus X, where X is the number of creatures you control. So it makes everything just huge, and they swing for a lot. Dauntless Escort, just creatures you control have indestructible in turn. Since there is so many board wipes in EDH, this is a way of getting around it. Dryad Arbor is a land. It's a 1/1 creature, but also can tap for land. So it's versatile in many different ways because it technically is a landfall in itself, and it's an also creature. So you play this as your land for the turn, meaning you find your land from Karametra and get 2 landfall triggers from it. So it's very interesting the way that works, just off 1 land. So let's say you play your land for your, and you can search for this, which is the best part. It's like, okay, Karametra, okay, find Dryad Arbor, which is on the land, put it onto the battlefield tapped. Okay, since it's a creature, I'll do it again, and then I'll play my land for the turn. So 3 landfall triggers, especially if you have big creatures out, which is like overwhelming. So that's a very good synergistic card right there. Next is Emilia of Angel. Whenever landfall enters the battlefield under control, put a 1/1 white bird token on the battlefield. It just helps you with your ramp and giving you a ton of little creatures. Eternal Witness enters the battlefield, return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Gives back things that you have or need, anything that's in your graveyard. Fiend Same Power, I like. It's 3 for a 2/2 first strike lifelink, and can't be target of black or red spells your opponents control. So it's just like, okay, I have protection from strong colors that burn and destroy, and I have first strike and lifelink as a 2/2. Fleecemane Lion, the reason why it's in here is it's 2 for a 3/3, so it's above its curve. And the fact is it has indestructible and hexproof after your monster is hit. And since it ramps so easily, this deck, it becomes a 4/4 hexproof indestructible, which is very hard to deal with, and you'll kind of always have a creature on board. The elves, I like them. You could always put Elvish Mystic in there, but these cards, that artwork just looks so much better to me. That's why I like it. It's just Elvish Mystic, but better, in my opinion. Grand Baluster 2 for a 2/2 during your turn. Your opponents can't cast. Sorry, guys. Your opponents can't cast or activate abilities of artifacts, creatures, or enchantments. And this is very strong in Commander. Another one of the legendary creatures is 6 for a 4/3, and target land becomes a 1/1 creature until end turn. It's still land. Pay 5, creatures you control get +3/+3 and trample until end turn. So it gets very big. None of the reliquaries in here because since the land is heavy on just ordinary, if you look at the lands, it's mainly forest and plains. You can just search. It gets +1/+1 for each land in your graveyard. Sacrifice a forest or plain. Search your library for a land card and put it on the battlefield and shuffle your library. This is very strong because yes, you like your landfall triggers, and it just gets bigger for having your land. Because late game, okay, you have like 20 land out because that can be done easily in this deck. You have your 20 land out and you're just getting creatures. Just okay, I'll sacrifice the land, and it's very. If it had haste, it'd be insane, but it doesn't. Oh well. But the landfall works synergistic with this deck because you boom get rid of a land, search for another land, meaning you can get 2 landfall triggers in. Plus, if you play a creature that turn. So if you play a creature, 1 landfall, you tap, search for another basic land, so 2 landfall, and you play a land for your turn, 3 landfall triggers. So that works really synergistic with it, and it gets bigger for this fact. Also works really well with Crucible of Worlds because as you're sacrificing things, they come back. And it just works so well because you can just bring back and sacrifice and search for more land this way. So you thin your deck out, but don't have to thin your deck out. Oracle of Muldiah, it's a 4-drop for 2/2. You play additional land on each of your turns. Field top card of your library. If it's top, you can play the top card of your library. It's a land card, so you can play additional land. So you can play one from your hand, or okay, there's a land card. I'll play that card. Flip it. Oh, it's another land card. I'll play that land card. Getting 2 additional landfall triggers. Custom Primate's Exalted, so it's a 2 for a 3/3 essentially, and sacrifice it, playing 1, destroy target artifact or enchantment. Just works really well. For a 6-drop, it's a 6/6 for 6. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under control, you may put a 4/4 beast creature token onto the battlefield. With this, it's a 6. It's actually a 10-drop. It's 6 for a 10/10. Not really a 10/10, but you're gonna use the landfall trigger right after it, so it's very good. Ranger of Eos, 4 for a 3/2. Whenever it comes in play, may search your library for up to 2 creature cards with a cost of 1 or less. Reveal them, put them into your hand, and if you do, shuffle your library. This gets you out your mana ramps real easy and getting all your 1-drops in. Revel Arc, 5 for a 4/3. When it leaves the battlefield, return up to target creature cards with the power of 2 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. So anything that's good, like Avenger of Zendikar, that goes in the graveyard, you can just put them back to the battlefield. You just put them back in the battlefield. Just boom, you're good. Scavenging Ooze, because things in the graveyard need to be taken care of. Just do that. Gain life. Fun for 2/2 for 2. It's a host of heroines. Does really herons? Herons, yeah. It's a 5 for a 5/5 flying. Hexproof spells and abilities your opponent's control can't cause you to sacrifice permanents. The only thing that really can take care of it is board wipes, and it's just very strong with that. Spore Mound, whenever pretty much landfall, and you put 1/1 Sapper Links for 5 for a 3/3. Just more landfall stuff. Stefan Links is 1 for 0/1, and I made this thing huge when I played it. And it was fun because I played it, got your landfall that first turn, so it was a 2/3 right off the bat. It doesn't have haste. But the next turn I was able to get 3 landfall triggers going on, so it became a 2, 4, 6, 7, and just became really out of control. Cedar comes under play, untap him, untap target land, so you can just kind of get some fun stuff. Sun Titan is just kind of a finisher. Enters battlefield or attacks, you may return target permanent card with current cost of 3 or less from your graveyard to your battlefield. So it just gets out early stuff back. Searches for a land on its own. Whenever you tap a land, add 1 mana to your mana pool of any type that was produced. Whenever an opponent taps for land, that land doesn't untap or gets controller untap step. Will by Worm just gets crazy out of control. And it's a 15/15. So I'm running out of time here. Aura Shards, destroys stuff, gets things bigger, plays additional lands, messes with graveyards, makes my land rush be even better. Just has many stuff on lands and everything else gets played. Makes things with my lands bigger. Double Strike, Lifelink, getting rid of stuff, finding stuff, getting rid of stuff, getting rid of stuff, finding stuff. Command Tower for my land. I know I'm going through this, but you guys can see what I have here. Just go through it quickly. I have a deck tech on a different thing, so go check that out. See you guys later. Sorry about the quick ending there, but yeah, you guys can to see what goes on here. See ya. Peace.